2? Oof. Okay.
8 p.m. Everybody. Shut up. Or whatever Bucket says. I don't know.
All right, I am officially
All right,
streaming.
please do not spam the soundboard. I know it is super fun, but let's not do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Bucket streams live. I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay, I'm gonna wait just a few minutes, just to make sure there aren't any more people coming in. I don't want to start too quickly.
Oh, I didn't know
It could
that
be
you
like
guys were.
Impulse. It could be like your stream. I would just say close it and make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi or a hotspot, and then rejoin the VC, and then try opening it back up.
Oh, it
Sometimes I get
also
that.
could be me because I'm clicking around on stuff. That should lighten it back up a little bit. I've been
did.
sitting here. Okay, yeah.
Thank you.
I've just been sitting here letting it idle, so it went dark. Don't. Okay, I figured that's what it was. Yeah, it just went idle. It does that when it's idle. Much people in here. Great. This is fantastic. I'll give it a couple more minutes and then we'll start. Like I said, I don't want anybody to miss anything. And again, if you have questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or you can ping in the VC chat as well. Either one works totally fine.
Yeah, I think because of the communication class, everyone has different ways of like answering something. Maybe just like let Bucket right. Maybe just let you answer the questions because I know oftentimes usually you will like try to answer people's questions if they don't particularly like at you, so you can finish talking maybe. But maybe just like let you lead it that way. One idea. I don't know. What do you think? It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to answer everybody's questions. It might take a minute if there's several questions in a row, but I'll be sure to answer everybody's questions.
Yeah. So we don't have to like do it. Okay, cool. That's good. I think it's a good idea to have like one person lead it. Wish you could do fun 1 minute polls in Discord. Or 2 minute polls like you can in Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if everybody can make sure that you're muted so that we can hear Bucket.
Yep.
Oh.
Thank you.
And I think that isn't meant to recording, right? You're streaming, right? So this will be
He
recorded.
is streaming it.
Cool. Everybody like and subscribe, and we have a Discord. Straw Hat Grand Fleet.
Yes, please use the VC chat if you have questions. You can also unmute yourself, but VC chat will work just as well. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start. Welcome in everybody. I appreciate everybody coming in here, sitting in with my class. I'll try and keep this class as short as possible, but communication in Pokemon Unite is the most important part of the game. It will make or break a team. If you have really emotional communications going on, if you're not communicating at all, either one. You can't have one extreme or the other. You really need a good, clear, concise way of communicating with your team so that you're able to make your call outs while also being able to continue focusing on the game. So obviously Pokemon Unite is an objective based game, and comms can make it to where either you lose an objective or you take an objective. So when you're playing solo queue, things are a little different. I like to use pings while I'm in solo queue, and I like to use voice communications during during my 5-stack play. Like when I play with the bucket hats, I make sure that we have voice chat on for everybody. I still like to use pings at times with my 5-stack, but most of the time I am using voice communications, but I try to keep them short. You don't want to fill up your entire chat just screaming at each other. So just that was a quick overview. We'll go over a few things in my settings first, and then we'll go into what we like to do during matches, whether that's in solo queue or whether that is in a team setting. So everybody can see my stream, correct?
Yes, sir. We can see your stream.
Okay.
We see settings, quick chat settings.
Yep. Okay. Good. So right now, my my quick chat settings are set to let's gather at the top path, let's gather at the bottom path, let's gather at the central area, and defend our goal zone. And the reason why I have mine set up this way is because I am a defender main. So I try to communicate with my team where I want my team to be. With me being frontline, I want people to understand where they need to position themselves so that we can best win. The one thing I will say is that every single role is going to need different quick chat messages in solo queue. So, if you're playing an attacker or excuse me, a speedster, and you see somebody dive into a bush, you can, ping in your solo queue, watch out for surprise attacks. That's one that's pretty good. Or let's wait for our allies is another good one for an attacker or a speedster, one of those more squishy mons. I don't really like the now's our chance to score, because most of the time when you ping that in solo queue, everybody takes that as okay, we're all going to go push the same goal. So I would, refrain from things like that. I don't like the let's fight together, because a lot of people like to use that in a negative connotation. Thanks pinging, check it out pings. Try not to do that as much as I can. And I would highly recommend, even as frustrating as solo queue games can get, try not to ping check it out on players and things like that. It just doesn't help. It never does. Like I said, most of the time I'm trying to get people in position. So I'm pinging, let's gather here, let's gather there. Okay. If you're an attacker in your solo queue and your defender is not wearing an XP share and he keeps taking your farm, it's good to have something like please let me level up first. Because most of the time when people pick defenders, they want you to succeed. They're ignorant to the game. You know, they don't understand that XP share is needed when you're playing a defender or supporter. The help me ping is another one of those weird connotations. Don't use that one. The you can do it ping is horrible. I hate those. So overall, you know, I use these mostly for solo queue. There, like I said, there are opportunities where I'll hit a gather here or something like that when I'm playing with my own team. So that's really all I want to say about the quick chat messages. Is there any questions on the quick chat messaging?
What do you think on the Let's Fight Together one, though?
That one can be used in a good way. I would typically use that if I'm playing like an all-rounder or an attacker, because I'm trying to get my team to rally around me so that we can win a team fight.
Mhm.
I wouldn't use that if I'm playing a defender, because I as a defender am going to be with my team.
So you think it's important to like, because you don't really often know what's gonna happen in a blind or like a draft or what you're gonna want to play if you have to flex. So like, but you seem to want to tailor it to what role you're trying to play. Not just
Yes.
have like a standard set of things they use for everything.
Yes. Well, Webb just asked about jungler comms in solo queue and quick chats.
Mhm.
So one of the ones that I like to use for if I'm going to jungle, I like to use the headed to central area, headed to bottom path, headed to top path. That way my team knows where I'm planning to go. That's the ones that I want for a jungler. Like if Daffy is playing and he can't let me know through voice chat where he's going, he can ping headed to top path. That way I
So those are the
know
same
not to
ones.
expect that gank from the jungle.
Okay. So those are the same ones though that you said you liked for the defender, right?
It's the opposite though. It's the opposite end of that, where I'm asking everybody to join me, say, let's gather at the bottom path.
Hmm.
You know, something
Oh,
like
headed
that.
to let's
He's
gather. Got
saying
it.
I'm headed to the top path. He's letting me know where he's going.
Gotcha.
I also like to directly go to the mini map and ping objectives and stuff if I feel like an objective is more important than the other in solo queue. Like if it's a Regieleki, I'll ping the Regieleki and say, hey, let's defeat Regieleki together. Hope that answered your question, Webb. For supporters, I would say it's pretty similar to defenders. Especially like I do like the let's retreat for supporters, because if you're not there to either heal or disrupt the enemy team, the let's retreat lets your team know, hey, I'm not prepared for this fight here. We need to step back and regroup, reset, whatever. Like the let's hide is another good one if you're playing a supporter as well. And that is true, Coco. There is a retreat ping that is just built into your spin wheel, so you can also just use that one as well. Any more questions on that?
I was just curious, if I was an all-rounder player, like what quick chat message would you recommend most?
I like the let me take the lead. That one's also good for defender as well, because you're letting the team know, hey, I'm going out and I'm going to go grab somebody. Like for example, if you're playing as a Buzzwole, you want to say let me take the lead, because you're going to go in and you're going to grab somebody with your leech life or your superpower. and that lets your team know what you're planning to do in that moment, and hopefully they will follow up on that. And especially if you're playing superpower, where um, you can displace your opponent and you can pull them back towards your team. That's a great way to let your team know that I'm about to grab this guy and pull him back to you.
That makes sense. Thank you.
So rolling the thanks ping is, I would say 99% of the time, not a useful ping. It just, too many people use it for a negative connotation. Too many. I would say over 50% of the Unite community uses the thanks ping as a very sarcastic and facetious way of saying thank you, because clearly, like, somebody steals a piece of your jungle, you ping thanks, like, yeah, thanks for making me get further behind. So I would never use the thanks ping. Even when you use it the right way, a lot of people are going to take it the wrong way because of how much it's used the wrong way. I don't think there's really any other settings we need to go over. I think all of the quick chat messages we kind of went over. But anyway, so now that we've talked about that, let's talk about what type of information is worth communicating during a match. One of the number one things that I like to communicate to my team in a match is locations of mons on the opposing team, such as when you first go through your laning phase, you get to the bottom of the lane and you see who you are laning against. So for example, if you see that there is a Ninetales and a Mamoswine on the opposing team in your lane, you make that call out to your jungler. What that does is that allows him to understand how difficult the gank is going to be on his end. If you're going against a Ninetales and a Mamoswine, it's going to be a lot harder in the early game to gank that lane because it's such a powerful combination in lane. But if you're going up against a Magikarp and a Rowlet, you're going to have a lot easier of a time jumping into that lane and getting a KO, or at least pushing them back and also allowing your team to get stacks. So enemy info, especially in the early game, is great. Another thing with enemy information that you want to give out to your team is being realistic about health bars. If you see a Gardevoir on the opposing team is getting a little too deep and its health's kind of low, call out, hey, Guardy's low, Guardy's on 1, something like that. That way your team knows to dive in and catch that person that's low. A lot of times I will call out to my jungler and I'll say, Guardy is low, or the Zoroark's on 1, I've got him stunned, jump on him. Like when I'm playing slow bro and I catch somebody with a slow beam, I'll just say, got him. That way my team knows to dive in quickly, get the kill, and step back. Like I said, the enemy info is one of the most important parts of information that you're communicating to your team. I would say the second most important thing is your objectives. Making sure that if you're in the front line, you're making sure that you're getting vision for your team and you're letting your team know where the opponents are. And if you're the one that's ripping an objective, you want to make sure that you're watching that health bar and making that call out that you're ripping. Because if your whole team doesn't know that you're trying to take the objective and you're ripping it down, and a Talon Flame comes in and, catches that objective with a fly, well, you just did all the work for them. All they had to do was drop their fly and get the objective from you. So it's good to make sure that as the frontliner that's getting vision, you call out who is coming, and then as the person that's securing the objective or ripping the objective, that you're watching the health bar on it and you're making communications to let people know, I need help ripping, I'm ready to secure, all of those things. The third point of information that you want to communicate to your team is your team state. So, for example, you want to make sure that you let your team know if you don't have your Unite move. If you're on cooldown for your moves. Like if I just pop my Spirit Shackle with Decidueye, I don't have another one up for another 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds. So I want to let my team know I'm on cooldown. I'm on cooldown. So your team knows to step back, wait for the cooldown, and then be able to dive back in. If you're playing a very mobile character like a Talonflame, like a Sableye, and you're trying to get a lot of points scored, if you're just trying to go for that score comp, you always make sure that you're letting your teammates know, I'm going for a back cap, I'm going to score. That way they know either to back you up or to focus on getting farm or focusing on the objective, depending on what's going on during that moment in the match. A lot of times when I'm playing with my team, something that I like to do is I'll have my jungler, who is typically Daffy, he'll play Talonflame. He'll go up to the top lane while we're all bottom lanes trying to take an objective, and he'll go back cap. So he'll get 30, 40 points in their goal while they're all focused on bottom trying to prevent us from taking an objective. It's a very, especially in this new way to play the game with Groudon, scoring is a lot more important than it used to be. Because, with Rayquaza, you get the huge shield and you get all that damage and you get unstoppable on the goals. There was just no way to stop a match from going the other way. Now we can kind of fight back on that. All right, Ninja has a question here. How do you communicate as a tank and possible engagement with the quick chat? Okay. So with the quick chat, when you're trying to let people know that you're, I guess, setting up for an engagement is what you're asking. Let me see. If you're going to do that, the let me take the lead's a pretty good one. Let's set up an ambush is a really good one as well. Like if you know that the team is coming, if you know the team is coming down for an objective or something, and instead of going for the objective, you want to catch the opposing team before you go for the objective, let's set up an ambush. You pull everybody into a bush with you, get them to gather here, use the gather here ping, something like that. That's a really good one. And then another thing that a lot of people don't think about in Unite when it comes to communication is communicating your emotions in the game. And what I mean by that is when you feel like a teammate is getting tilted, they're getting frustrated, they don't like how the game is going, sometimes you just got to give your team a reset. And for every team, it's different. Everybody, that plays on a team knows their teammates well enough to know how they can make that communication effective without making them more frustrated. So, for example, like if I feel like we're starting to lose a match and I'm feeling the excitement kind of draining from my team, I'll say, "Come on, guys, we've got this. Let's just reset. We got this. Let's go get farm." I love to make sure that my team. I like to let them know that we're not out of it yet. It's one of my favorite things to do is to get my team rallied and back in the fight. So many times I've had Daffy, I've had Poseidon, I've had Mikey, I've had Turk come in and just completely change the way the game's going just because we'll say one or two things to get our mind reset and back in the game. That's something that we pride ourselves in, is trying to stay mentally level-headed. You don't let yourself get tilted and just throw the game away by playing angrily. That it never works. It never works that way. Is there any questions about objectives, enemy information, your team state, or your emotional part of communication? Okay, Ninja's asking about if he wants to jungle invade. What type of ping would he use? I typically like to use the check it out ping on the enemy's jungle. That's a pretty well known one that you use if you're going to jungle invade. You go to your mini map, you go right to the middle of your enemy jungle, you click on that and it'll check it out on their jungle, and that's a good way for them to understand what you're planning to do. What is a good way to let others know if you're KO'd and waiting for respawn? I'm trying to think if there's actually a way to say that or not. We're outnumbered. Avoid fighting is a really good one. But also, you can only pick 4 of these, so I would say that one is not the best one.
Wouldn't Let's Fight Together be a good one for that too? Like
It can be. It can be, but a lot of people like to use that one in a negative connotation as well.
Oh.
Like the
Yeah, but
maybe
we're in a
watch
5
out.
stack.
Yes, but I'm also talking about solo queue as well.
Oh,
I'm also
okay.
talking about solo queue.
What about
And
Let's
that's what
Hide?
Ninja was asking about. And all right, Let's Hide. Let's Hide's not a bad one. When
What if I'm scared they have a carry mon with the comfy and I want to hide?
a carry mom with a comfy and you want to
I'm,
hide.
I'm just teasing you. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so I'm going to do a short overview of kind of what we went over so far. So we've discussed why communicating wins games. We've also discussed, just kind of the reason why those communications win the game. So like being concise. I can't stress enough that if you're yelling, if you're, just talking too much in the chat, that can actually be detrimental to your communications instead of being effective. Yelling never solves anything. I played with people that like to yell and use their emotions while they're communicating, and it completely shuts people down when that happens. So, bye, Buttercup, and see you later, brother. Thanks for dropping in. A lot of times when people yell, yes, exactly, Celeste, it makes people uncomfortable and it makes people shut down mentally. So always try to speak in a manner, especially to your team. This is the people that you play with all the time. something that I pride my team with is that we are friends first before we are teammates. And so I'm not going to scream at people that are my friends. I'm going to talk to them as my friend first. So make sure that you always remain respectful to your teammates when you're talking to them, especially in the game. Let's talk about just like an overview of the solo queue versus a team comp communication. So we really only have for solo queue pings and then also moving your character certain ways. So if you ping gather here and you run into a bush, that kind of tells your team that you want to be right in that area. So a lot of times your team is going to go to that bush with you, or they're going to be somewhere close to you. If you ping retreat, but you push forward, that's telling your team two different things. So you got to make sure that, especially in solo queue, that you're doing what you're calling out. If you say gather here, you stay in that spot. Don't start pushing forward as you're saying gather here. With your full team, you're able to also use pings, the gather here pings. You're also able to use the, let's gather here pings, that sort of thing. But also you can use your voice. And the voice is so much more powerful. So much more powerful. Make sure that you're always communicating short, small call outs for your team. Like I said, you're wanting to make sure that they understand. I got a Luca on bot. He's trying to stack. I need help bot. Retreat back. Like we're getting pushed. We got 5 bot. They're rotating. You want to make sure that they're very short, concise messages to your team so it doesn't fill the voice channel up with unnecessary noise. You can be a lot more multi-directional, I guess is the better word for it, and coordinated with your team pings. So make sure that you use that to your advantage. Always be as concise as you can, but also make sure that you get your point across. You don't want to be convoluted in what you're trying to do. If you tell your team gather here, like, hey, let's go bot, and then you start running top lane, that's going to confuse your teammates. They're going to be like, well, where are you going? What are we doing? And also, you want to make sure that you have one person in your team making the major shot calls. So with that said, you want to make sure that, like, if you choose one person to be your shot caller, you need to make sure that they are constantly telling you, let's go to bottom objective, go to the middle objective, go to top objective, farm for your unite moves. Let's step back and get farm. Because if you don't and everybody's trying to do it, nobody's going to be coordinated. Everyone's going to be kind of doing their own thing and just, again, filling your voice chat with noise. With solo queue, the shot calling is going to be pretty hard because of main character syndrome. A lot of people are going to feel like they're the ones that need to tell the team what to do. So typically when I play solo queue, I will let my teammates kind of guide me to where I want to go. Whereas when I'm playing with a team, I'll listen to what my shot caller tells me to do, and then I'll try to follow up on that and do what he's telling me to do, even if I don't necessarily agree. A lot of times it's better to just be with your team, 5 people in the wrong position, than it is to be one person in the right position. I hope that makes sense.
That was so well said.
Yes, it's so, I can't stress that enough either. That's one of the biggest things about playing in solo queue, is that when you're playing with your team in solo queue, if your top lane and you know the next Regieleki that they get is going to go to your home base, and you're the only one there, and it's about to be Groudon and they're taking it, and your whole team's bottom just farming, it's no use for you to be up there, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to go up there. You might get the steal on the Regieleki, but then the first thing they're going to do is jump you, knock you out, and you're going to be out for 20 seconds as Groudon spawns, and now your team is 4v5. So it's better to just be 5v5 and take the risk of the Regieleki getting taken before the 2-minute mark. So just make sure that when you're playing solo queue, you're being very aware of where your team is on the mini map. Always watch your mini map, even in a team comp, but especially in solo queue, because that will tell you where you need to be more so than any pings you're going to get on the map. And also, being able to adapt in solo queue is going to be completely different than adapting in a 5-stack. When you're playing in a 5-stack and you see that the team that you're playing against is winning hard, you can make that decision to step back, stop taking team fights, stop showing up to objectives when you're losing them every time, and just going back and farming, just trying to get your levels up, because this whole game is built on being able to catch up. When they break a goal, you get more farm to gain experience, to level up. So when you realize you can't win these fights, if you're out of position or whatever, you have to be able to, on the fly, make that call out, hey, nobody's in position, back up. In solo queue, you're going to have to make different decisions. So yes, you realize that your team is out of position, and you can ping the retreat message and just say, hey, let's step back. We can't take this. But that doesn't mean your solo queue teammates are going to listen. So again, this means you need to adapt on the fly in that moment. You need to go in with your team, even if you feel like it's probably the wrong thing, because it's better to just 5v5 than it is to you step back and you're getting farm and the rest of your team gets wiped. Any questions with anything I've talked about so far?
Is there ever a time when you, for example, get really upset in game? How do you handle that?
Okay, so when I get frustrated during a match, I tend to try and talk to my team and let them know, hey, we need to reset here. We need to retreat. Let's step back. We need to mental reset here, guys. Let's get our heads right. And most of the time that works. But if I'm playing solo queue and I'm getting frustrated like that, what I personally like to do is I will literally reset. I'll step into a bush. I will recall back to pad, and I will mentally reset myself in that moment while I'm sitting there just waiting for my character to go back to base. And I will say, okay, let's focus on farming. Let's get as big as we can, and then we will try to win the match from there. That's something that I like to do. I like to practice that a lot in solo queue. When I feel like the matches aren't going my way, I'll just go into a bush, recall back to home, and in that, 4 or 5 seconds that I'm recalling back, I'll mental reset myself, talk myself up, and say, okay, this is still winnable. Reset.
Bucket, I have a question.
Yes.
When she said when you get so mad at a match, my question is with a counter question, like, what are you mad about? Your team not working together? like sometimes I accept the fact that maybe I'm playing with a 10-year-old and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So, just like you said, when you reset and back cap, that's a good idea for maybe attackers. But maybe like if you're a defender or a speedster, like you get some vision on the map, see what's going on. Personally, I think Adori knows this. I like to back cap when I'm pissed. I'm like, all right, I used to yell at people, but like you said, it doesn't work. It didn't get me anywhere. So now I just do the silent treatment where I just become like a disappointed father and just stay quiet.
That's a
And
great
then,
way to put it. Being
yeah,
the
it's less
disappointed
harming.
father is a really good way
It's
to put
less
it.
harming. It's less
Yes.
harming. You're not hurting people's feelings. You stay quiet. You make them wonder why you're mad, and maybe they'll think they did something wrong. But
I'm not
yeah, it
mad. I'm
depends
just
what player you are.
disappointed.
That's exactly right.
What are you mad
And
about?
Just be
that
better, dude.
that works. That I'll tell you, someone who's the king of that is Turk. Turk will mute himself when he gets frustrated, and
Okay.
that speaks so much more to me than him ever saying like that was the wrong call. Sometimes in a team environment, it's best to just not make the call out in the moment. Sometimes it's best to just hold your tongue, be quiet, just focus on the game, and you can discuss it afterwards.
But then how do you answer when someone's like, "Why did you mute there?" Like, how do you most effectively communicate that without being
So
like
you
hurting
can,
people's feelings or calling them out individually? Like, how do you?
well, as a team, you have to be able to call each other out. You have to do it in a respectful manner. So you can't just say you're playing like shit. You can't say that. That's not something you can do. That's not going to help anybody learn anything. When you're frustrated with a play that was made or whatever, you can make a mental note of it, go after the match, say, "Hey, before we start this next match, let's talk about this. I
And
did not appreciate you going top lane when the rest of the team went bot lane."
and
Obviously,
being
this doesn't work in solo queue, but like I said, in a team environment, you got to have a way to be able to communicate effectively without being hateful to the people that you play with every day.
Yeah, and I'd say for the competitive teams, especially, you play with each other every single day. You're practicing, so if they know, oh, Turk muted, he's gonna say something afterwards, right? You just you just know what's gonna happen because you get used to each other's personalities, and if they know, hey, Turk would rather mute themselves because they'd rather mute themselves than say something that's gonna piss people off. I mean, hey, if that's the better route to go, that's the better route to go. So we learning who your teammates are and how they deal with stuff is just as important of the communication as anything. Just because if you're shutting down because there's animosity and you're not willing to communicate, that becomes a problem. So as long as everyone accepts, hey, we're all here for the same reason, we're all here to win, right? Then yeah, you should be able to get some type of feedback, whether it's bad, good, indifferent, whatever, right? And just take it as information. And hey, maybe I need to go back and look at this. Maybe I'm not making the right moves, but because you can't always be right, even though I am, but you can't.
That's good.
Thank you.
Good
Good
advice.
points. So now that I've brought up shot calling, I wanna follow up on that and talk about some of the things that are important for shot calling. Obviously, your shot caller needs to identify what the plan is. So if you know that you're going to have a very strong top lane and you're not going to need to focus on a gank on top lane, then you need to make sure that if you are the shot caller, you're making that call out, whether you're the jungler or not. If you're not the jungler and you're the shot caller, you need to say, make sure you gank bot lane. And if you are the jungler, you just let your team know, I'm going to gank bot lane. Make sure that your team acknowledges you. That way they understand, okay, we'll wait until you gank before we push the middle farm at the 720. Or
Hey,
yes,
Bucket.
no,
If
820.
you're a speedster,
Yes.
if you're the jungler, what do you think about this? So typically, I mean, it's maybe your class. It made me think that maybe I should change my quick chats more often. Like I just use it, leave it the same. I should probably change it. But like typically, if I was going middle jungle, I would just say check it out to the path I'm going to. What do you think about that?
So sure.
Does that like work or not really?
That can work, but again, the check it out pings are pretty hit or miss. So I typically don't like to hit check it out. I'm gonna say I'm headed to bot path or I'm headed to top path.
I was wondering because like that opens up another quick chat spot. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, and it does. But if you're planning on being a jungler, then you need to be able to let your team know at all times what path you're going to be going to. So that's why I like to have the I'm headed here or I'm headed there instead of just pinging check it out.
Okay.
Celeste asked, how do I become better at shot calling? You struggle to talk when you're in the game sometimes. So sometimes shot calling is not for everybody. A lot of people tend to, when they're playing, not communicate a lot and they focus more on the game itself. And when that is when that's the issue, or I don't even want to call it an issue, when that's the way you play, that is a very fine way to play. But I would also use the pings as much as I can. If I tend to not speak during the game, I'd rather have a teammate ping the quick chat all the time than having radio silence. So if you're going to play as a shot caller, I would highly recommend working with your team and figuring out what information they want from you the most. Whether that is what path that you're going to gank, whether that is what objective are we going to get, do we need to form up at the Groudon pit? Are we going to try and catch the enemy team at a certain objective, or are they pushing, whatever that is. You got to identify what your team wants to know. That way you can speak it quickly and precisely and be done. I do
Bucket, can I
play
add something?
competitively, Ducky. I played last year in the UCS. I was still forming my team, so I only played the first 3 or so tournaments with different players, but I was able to start really pinning my team down like March, April. And so I ended up placing in the top 16 in the April Cup this past season. So I'm hoping we'll be able to play a little bit better this upcoming season. Now,
Can I add
was
something,
somebody
Bucket?
asking? Yeah, go ahead.
All right. You said a lot of good things about macro playing. I want to also give that person some advice on micro. I was a crap shot caller for a very long time because all I played was speedsters. When I expanded my mon pool and started reading on Pokemon Unite DB, all about cooldown timers, playing different mons, knowing what moves, how many seconds they have left on it. When you play and have a lot of game knowledge, just like in real life, when you have knowledge about your job, you can make better decisions like a manager because you know everything. So having a lot of information on the mons, cooldowns, your map, your timers, when you start grasping all this knowledge, I know it's a lot, but once you do, you will become a very good shot caller. Because if you see a Blissey that just used his safeguard and he messed up, and after 1.5 seconds, that's the time to dive in and take advantage of the team because he messed up. So that would be a good shot calling moment. If you see someone that's backcapping and you know that Talonflame has no ult to come in, or that Pikachu's backcapping because he doesn't have an ult, that's a good time to take out the team. That's a good shot call. Like game knowledge, knowing your mons,
Yes.
knowing the map, all that good stuff.
Knowing where people are on the map.
Yeah, there you
Huge.
go.
And
Checking
also
the items that's been
watching
used.
the clock, for the love of God.
Yep.
This goes
Watch the
for
clock.
solo queue. This goes for team fights. This goes for 5 stacking. This goes for competitive. Watch the clock. Your mini map and the clock tells you everything you need to know about a match. So please always watch that. So to finish up on shot calling, good rules to have for being a shot caller is making sure that you're not being loud and screaming at your team, but also making sure that you are very clear on what you're doing or what you want your team to do. And you need to be confident in your calls. So that's the second part of it. You make your call out, you say, go bot lane. We're taking bot objective. Don't say, hey guys, should we take bot objective? Because that shows that you're unsure. And if you're the shot caller, if you're the shot caller, you need to be 100% sure about what you want to do. Every single objective.
Or sound like you're 100% sure.
That's exactly right. Or at least sound 100% confident.
Yeah.
And
One big
when
thing
you're a
that I
shot
noticed
caller,
most
you're
people
also having to look ahead in the match. So you're
Can we talk
needing to
about another thing,
plan.
Bucket?
Yes.
Can you talk about coming back? Can you talk back from a match where you think there's no hope, like you're steamrolling? I want to hear what your advice is, and I would also like to put some
really,
info to it.
okay, but really quick related to
Okay,
shot calling,
so
one thing that I think we just quickly address, maybe you can address, like, I think just like it's good to like try to commit to like one idea. I know a lot of things change during the game, but like if you keep changing your mind like 10 times in 30 seconds, your team's not gonna get anything done. So just
yeah,
that's what
so
I think.
I'll speak on what Siren's saying real quick, and then I'll follow back up with Skunkle. So one of the things that I noticed, I played with a couple people about a week ago now, and during draft, during the entire match, the person that was making the shot calling was consistently changing their mind multiple times in a span of a few seconds. So they would say, let's go bot lane. Wait, back up. No, go jump on this guy. Hey, I've got ult. Dive on him quick. No, get back. Oh, I'm already dead. What are y'all doing? And those things only add to the confusion. So you want to make sure that you are always 100%, even if you're not 100% sure, like Mensa said, you want to act like you're 100% sure that that's what you want to do. And you can't go back on that and, say, nah, never mind, when everybody's already in position to do what you told them to do.
So, just some background information. I was in South Korea back in like 2006, 2007, and I just happened to be in a room where a 4-star general was asking one of the intel officers if we were ready to do something as part of the exercise we were doing. And he's like, I'm not sure. And the 4-star general is literally pressing him, is like, are you 70% sure? Are you 80% sure? What's your threshold, right? And at the end, it ended up being a lesson to the young captain. It's like, hey, listen, you're never going to be 100% sure. As soon as you feel like you have enough information, make it happen. Do it like give the order, make it happen, and don't turn back. Because as soon as you look like there's something else, unless there's like new information that presents itself, that's like, oh God, we need to stop this right now. Without that, like, who's gonna follow you if you don't sound like you know what you're doing? And you're never gonna be 100%. Never, ever are you gonna be 100% sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like for example,
so
like what he just said right there, it's kind of like the situation where it's like, okay, guys, we're gonna get bomb objective, right? And let's just like, okay, let's rep, right? Wait, oh, hold up, they're right here. Let's play conservatively. That's different than saying let's go to counter, like changing the entire plan versus editing the plan you're already on slightly because of new
correct.
information.
So following back up with what Skunkle said, he's asking about how, in a team environment, do you reset yourself and your team when you get behind, when you realize that a team is just crushing you, they're being oppressive, they're taking every objective, they're taking all the farm. The best thing you can do in that moment as a team is start to play together. And even if you're not playing like a death ball comp where you're just a bunch of melee attackers and a bunch of supporters and defenders all just staying on top of each other, sometimes it's better to recall, retreat back, get your team together, rally together, and start pushing objectives together, start taking farm together. It might not be the most efficient thing, but sometimes playing all together is going to help your team get control of the situation than if you just let their team consistently go in, steal your farm, 2 people at a time, dive in, take your farm, and dive back out. It just, for me, when I'm playing with my team and I feel like we're down and out on something, I will say, all right, we got this. Let's reset. Let's get farm. Let's focus on final objective. Because at this point, the only chance we have is to take final objective and score. So I like to get everybody farming, get it as strong as they can get together, and then show up for the team fight at the 2-minute mark together. And if you lose at that point, there's nothing else you could do. You did everything you could do as a team. And it might be that you decide, hey, we can't win this fight, so let's go just score as a team. That's something that a lot of score comp teams like to do. They'll go in, they'll score as a team. So, Skunkle, I know you said you wanted to add something onto that, so go ahead. No? Okay. All right. He said he wanted to add on to it, but yeah, overall, when you're struggling with an opposing team and they really just seem like they've got your number, sometimes the best thing to do is just focus on that final objective. Just get as strong as you can. Make sure your team understands, don't take objectives. Don't get yourself out of position. Don't go and try and back cap and score. Just focus on getting your farm. Make sure that you're communicating that you're, going to get farm and stuff. And then focus on that final objective as a team. And also, I think Mensa just brought it up as well. Yes, so you get a ton of catch-up XP throughout the match, especially the further you are behind. And if you're able to catch one of your opponents who are getting a little overconfident, when they step a little too deep on your second tier trying to get a kill, and you're able to catch one of them that's 2 or 3 levels over you, that's a ton of catch-up experience for yourself. So make sure that you stay focused on the objective at the end, which is scoring the most points to win. When you get behind like that and you get frustrated, just focus on, hey, there's only one way to win, and that's by scoring the most points. So how do we get there? You just got to revert back to your factory settings at that point.
And conversely,
so a couple of little exercise. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say conversely, if you are your team's carry and you are the highest level on your team, don't put yourself in a position to die because you are the golden goose of XP for the opposing team. If you're winning and you're snowballing, if they take you out, they're going to catch up so fast.
Yeah. So the opposite of what I was saying. If you have a ton of levels on top of the opposing team and they catch you, that's a ton of XP for them to catch up with. So, but a couple of communication drills that I think will be helpful. One of them I like to call is like the mime drill. And what the mime drill is you play a match with your team with no voice chat. You use only pings and movements. And then after the match is over, review the match and discuss where having your voice comms on would have been more beneficial than the pings. And that's the ones that you want to make sure that you make call outs for. That one helps a lot with figuring out what information absolutely needs to be spoken out loud and what stuff can be pinged with a quick message. Like a gather here. You don't need to say gather here. You can just hit the gather here.
It also feels like that would like add to like also like team trust, because if you know what.
That's exactly right. It does build a little camaraderie as well. But anytime you're playing with your team, you know, you're going to build camaraderie as you continue to play with them. Another thing that is super, super useful, drill in like certain like single word call outs. So if you've got Reggie Alecki on bot, you just call Alecki. You can say Alecki bot real fast. You can basically make it into one word, and that way your team understands the Reggie Alecki's bot. And you can do the same thing with, you know, if you're wanting people to retreat back, if you're wanting your team to retreat, just say back, back, back. That's all you got to say. And then your team understands, hey, we're in a bad position here. Let's back up here and let's reset. That one's one that helps a lot. Also, I like to rotate shot callers. And that helps your entire team understand what it takes to be a shot caller and when you need to be making those calls. So make sure that when you play with your team, have everyone play a match where they are the shot caller. Everybody else in the VC mutes themselves. That way they cannot speak over your shot caller, because whoever is your typical shot caller is most likely going to, at one point or another, try and override what the person who's attempting to shot call. So you mute yourself so that you don't interrupt, so that that person can learn where they make a failure, and you can bring it up after the match, talk to them, say, hey, this is we should have done this. So let's next time make sure that you understand that this is what we need to do. But overall, I'm gonna finish it up here because I'm already at about an hour now. But overall, just making sure that you keep your comms calm and respectful to your team. That's going to be the number one. Don't be an asshole to your teammates. Talk to your team like you would talk to your friends. Tell them how you feel in a respectful way. That way they understand what needs to be done in a situation. And make sure that you prioritize what information is the most important. Make sure that you make your call outs on who's in your lane. Make sure you let the jungler know that their jungler is coming to your lane for the first gank. Make sure that you tell somebody, hey, I'm low. I got to step back. Those things. And keeping your comms as calm as possible. Again, that's one of the most important things. Staying calm. So I think that's about it. I've talked for quite a bit. I answered quite a few questions. If you got any more questions after this, you're more than welcome to shoot me a DM, ask me any other questions that you have. But overall, guys, just be respectful of your team, and you're going to get a lot more done than if you're just yelling at people. That's, if nothing else, I just want you guys to leave with that knowledge. Be respectful to your team, and you'll win more games. Okay? If there's no more questions, I'm going to end the class here. And like I said, you can shoot me a DM if you have any other questions, okay?
Thank you, Professor
Are we
Booms.
dismissed?
I just realized I was unmuted, and I'm sorry if I was making weird noises. Don't judge me.
No,
I
no,
couldn't
you're
hear
good.
anything.
Thank you everybody for coming in. I appreciate everybody coming and listening. And like I said, have fun with your team first and foremost. Be friends with your team first and foremost. Okay.
This was better than my actual communications class.
Well, good to hear. Good to hear. All right, guys. Well, everybody have a good night, and I will talk to y'all soon.
Bye,
Can we have
Professor.
homework? Can we have homework? Can we have homework?
No homework.
Damn it.
Yay.
Bye.
That was
Bye.
never me in school, but anyway, that was fun to do. Okay, cool. Thank you. Alrighty then. Cool.
I mean, this is the only class that I ever got to Elite Smash in, so that's fun.
Got to what?
I was playing Smash Bros while he was talking.
Wait a minute. Did someone say Smash?
Yeah. Super
You play
Smash Bros.
Smash?
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the Nintendo
What's your
Switch.
GSP? What's your GSP?
21 mil for
No, it's not.
Crossplay.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
What are you
Max
talking
is like 15.8 right now, man.
Bro,
Did it
you
really
gotta
get
play
that?
Melee on GameCube. Then you're a real Smash player.
I do that too. Well, not anymore, but I used to. I miss my Smash Pro days. I just wanted to know somebody was about that life.
Yeah, I didn't get anybody into Elite Smash. I just wanted to feel nice.
You're good, bro. Elite Smash is hard as fuck now.
Is class
It
over?
It used
is.
to be a lot easier.
Because my plant and my Incineroar are both at 15, and I
That's
have
good.
neither of them in Elite.
Hey guys,
That's pretty good though.
real quick, the class is over. Did I miss the end?
Yeah.
All right, bet. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm ending the stream here.